Hey, this is Jeff, and welcome back to the Coito Ergo Sum DLC crossover. At the risk of jinxing myself, I think I got the ammo shortage sorted out. First, I didn't realize you can convert scrap metal to lead at the reloading bench. I'd picked up a few by accident while looting and sold them to the Central Intelligence, and when I went to buy them back, I noticed it also had 3 of those primer and powder packs for sale, so I bought those too. I'd also picked up some ammo types I never use, 5mm and 9mm, so I broke them down for components, and oh boy, that's why you reload. You get all the lead you could ever want from that. Bottom line, I have more than 120 rounds of .308, and the limiting factor is now empty casings. I also realized I had a bunch of overcharged energy cells, which do more damage and ignore 5 points of enemy damage threshold at the cost of wearing down weapon condition faster, but the sonic emitter seems pretty sturdy, so I'll be using those to make it hit a little harder when we're fighting robots. And I got Elijah's advanced lair repaired, and holy crap, DPS is almost 200. Like the regular lair, it doesn't do much extra damage on a crit, so it's not my first strike weapon, but when things get hectic, it'll lay waste to just about anything. Anyway, we finished exploring the crater and wrapped up the last of the Brain's loyalty missions last week, so I think we're ready to head for X13 and grab the last technology for Klein. And I think I'm going to make the rounds and talk to all of them one more time to make sure we haven't missed any important dialogue, just in case we get locked out of any options once we have all 3 schematics. I mentioned they all give you little gifts after you complete their loyalty missions, and I haven't seen what Zero's is. So Zero, got any amazing discoveries to share?
You know, hearing my name said like that, it really de-reses my screens. As for discoveries, well, of course. Look at this. Just built it. Amazing, isn't it?
Scrap electronics. Scrap metal. That's lead. It certainly is interesting, whatever it once was.
You know what? I'm not even going to pretend. I broke one of the monitors, and those innards start falling out everywhere. If you could just hold on to that for me until, well, forever, that would be welcome.
At long last, here we are at X13. I spent a lot of time in here during the Skills Dash series because there are 2 skill books and 2 skill book recipes. But that's only scratching the surface, because this place has one of the densest concentrations of upgrades, unique items, lore, and Easter eggs in the DLC. And speaking of lore, let's have a look at this terminal. Okay, that didn't tell us anything we didn't already know, but it gives you a hint to get the force field disruptor module for the sonic emitter from X8 in case you come here first. And Courier Max never got it, so he couldn't open this little closet, but I think one of the upgrades is in here. Bobby pins. Can never have too many of those. Not an upgrade, but the key to the kennels in X8, which we need to complete the X8 data retrieval quest for some reason. We already did both stages of the institutional test and the residential test, so I'm not sure what remains to be done over there, but we will find out. Okay, that just talks about the gloves. We have to find the parts and assemble the stealth suit ourselves. There are separate gloves, boots, and a chest piece. And the gloves are right over here. Prototype X13 gloves. This blackboard might seem like typical set dressing, arguing about what color it should be, and that's all funny, but there's actually a hint about a fairly major plot point. The highest priority, and the thing they marked as definitely complete, was the heart monitor. And we'll find out why that's important if we can convince Klein to tell us why he wanted the 3 specific technologies he asked us to retrieve. And right across the hall, I believe, I think this is the boots. Yes. Nothing major there, just a little foreshadowing that the suit will boost your sneak speed once you have it assembled. Boot test. Kick a Night Stalker. That's not very nice. And here are the boots themselves. Thin red paste. I don't think we've seen that before. And thick red paste. I don't remember if those are consumables or crafting items, or both, maybe. And right around the corner is the final component, the chest piece. There should be a terminal, yes. The suit's firmware adapts to the user, which explains why you have to run the test course to activate it, and optionally run it a few more times to fully upgrade it. And they were going to reward the engineer who came up with the idea with a keg of Battle Brew. I'm sure we'll be finding some of that later. Now, over here on the floor somewhere, there's an actual skill book. Right there, sneak. Not useful to Courier Jeff, but good to know. And that's a damaged prototype. The actual chest piece is right here. You have obtained the Arl stealth suit. Not only can it be upgraded through testing in X13, it also has Med-X and Stimpack reserves for all your pain dampening needs. Med-X and Stimpaks not included. And while you might think a stealth suit would be really exciting for Courier Jeff, given his obsession with crits and sneak attacks and frequently just avoiding danger when possible, it's not. The stealth suit would actually make him much easier to detect. I mean, significantly. If you want all the details, shameless plug, I'll put a link to my sneaking and detection analysis video in the description, but the short version is it weighs 20 pounds more than what I'm wearing, and it's in the medium armor class, not the light armor class, both of which would make me easier to detect, while the sneak skill buff does nothing because my sneak skill is already 100. And what do we have in this little locked closet? Pre-war money on this side, too. I guess the engineers went in there to bet on chess games. And here at the other end of the hall is the door to the actual test course where we activate the stealth suit. Requires a key, but I don't think it does. I think you just unlock it with this terminal. Yes. But I don't think I'm going in there just yet. I want to finish exploring this side of the facility first before we do any of that. Just like X2 and X8, when we get the schematic Klein once, Mobius will send Robo-Scorpions to stop us. Okay, lot of text there, but the bottom line is they had a VR testing room that was malfunctioning, so they weren't using it. The physical test course was based on RepCon HQ, which implies they were planning a real-world test that was going to involve a little corporate espionage, and they were trying to figure out how the Night Stalker's cloaking ability works, presumably because they wanted to add a cloaking feature to the stealth suit, similar to what Chinese stealth suits had. And interestingly, the Night Stalkers seem to have been docile, so Boros might not have been as delusional about their temperament as I thought. Unfortunately, they were shy about using their cloak around humans, and Dr. Callis was using cruel technological methods to make them cooperate, which the other staff thought might permanently affect their brain chemistry and make them aggressive. And here we have a cattle prod and Dr. Callis. So the other staff were right. In the drain pipe at the back of the Night Stalker pens, there's a broken grate, so Z9 isn't the only place in Big Mountain Night Stalkers live and breed. Not that it's news to anyone from the Mojave, but Boros is delusional about them being sterile. And down at the other end, I think there's a little hidden room where they made the battle brew they mentioned on the terminal upstairs. Yeah, pretty sure this is it. Of course, it got trashed after Callis tortured the Night Stalkers into going berserk. Yeah, there's a still over here, so this is the place. I'd say Callis got what he deserved just for the animal cruelty, but beyond that, he was warned, and people died because he didn't listen. Preserved meat. Even though it looks like Brahmin steak, I think this is canonically beef jerky, like pre-war one-headed cow beef jerky. So it seems like the other staff treated the Night Stalkers pretty well. 150 food and 45 hit points. I'm going to take it all. And it doesn't increase your thirst, so maybe it's not beef jerky. Maybe it's preserved some other way. Probably with radiation or toxic chemicals or any of the other assorted satirical ways pre-war people did things in the Fallout universe. And that barrel may be strange cask. Yes, a stash of battle brew. Red mist, not sure what that effect is. Intelligence debuff, makes you thirsty, buffs strength, damage resistance, and hit points. Probably won't be using that in combat, but it sounds like fun at a party. Maize, on the other hand, is my favorite food in the game. And quite possibly in real life. Well, my favorite vegetable, or technically grain. Alright, I guess we'll go back upstairs and check out the test course. Well, actually, there's also that VR room they mentioned. Let's have a look at that. I want to check everything thoroughly before the Robo-Scorpions show up to minimize the chances that my bad habit of looting in the middle of combat will get me into trouble. And here we are. Vaguely reminiscent of a holodeck. Protonic inversal axe. I think I said the one we found on the lobotomite boss in the Cuckoo's Nest was a unique variant of the proton axe, but apparently it's not unique, it's just a very rare variant. Smashed terminal. And VR simulation note. Let's read that. With my dying breath, I write that I hate the VR simulation so much. It has killed us, now I will kill it. So when the terminal outside said it was malfunctioning, that was a bit of an understatement. Here we go. I don't think there's anything hostile in here yet, but better safe than sorry. In fact, there's something friendly in here. Probably the robots. For now. We'll get to that. Those were all notes we've read before. We're not going to start the test just yet, but there's the lobby where we'll do that. The terminal's like the one in X8. It lets you pick which test you want to run, but you have to complete the easy ones first to unlock the harder ones. Also, like X8, there are observation areas where the scientists could watch and analyze the test subject's performance. The top floor has rooms with catwalks that overlook the test course. They're back here. And I think this is where most of the good stuff is. I remember this one in particular from the Skills Dash series because I would never have found this skill book recipe without the Fallout wiki. You see those vents that are all over that look like just part of the scenery in an industrial facility? Well, they're not. They're actually containers. And if you jump over to this one, the recipe's in there. I could try to justify this in role-playing terms because Courier Jeff likes to climb on everything, but the truth is, I never would have thought of this. And just like Courier Max, I'm going to fall down and not make it back onto the catwalk, which is fine because the test course isn't active yet. Okay, back upstairs. Now, what do we have in Observation Area 2? This overlooks the reception area, I think. And of course there's loot. Scrap metal. That's lead. Sexy sleepwear and a mattress. Not sure if that's just because the staff was overworked and sometimes they slept here, or if it implies something illicit was going on. And there's a terminal over here in the back. One of the technicians fixed some code defects in the Cyberdog gun, but nobody would take them seriously because they weren't a PhD. And I think reading this note unlocks a mod for the Cyberdog gun that the Central Intelligence can sell. Yeah. Most of the upgrades are on holotapes that you see laying around, but at least 2 of them in here are like that. You get them from reading terminals. Let me make sure. This holotape contains an upgrade file for the Sync Robotic Assistant Central Intelligence Unit. Yes, even though it's not a holotape. And I think I saw... Yes, apparently all these vents are containers. Those 2 with the snack cakes are just part of a running joke that one of the technicians was always snacking on the job in violation of company policy, but I shudder to think how much loot I might have missed in other areas. And what awaits us in Observation Area 3? Besides a preview of the test course layout, if you use this method to do a little planning, which you totally can do. Another terminal. And we've seen that one before. Short version, Callus was a dick, which we already knew, and one of the other technicians created another mod for the Cyberdog gun. And finding them was apparently an objective for a quest I didn't even know I had. And it says we still need to find upgrades for the Sync's autodock, which I believe is also in here somewhere. At least it had better be, because we've been literally everywhere else. And this is a stairway down to the test course, like a back door. Yeah. And like I said, the robots and turrets aren't hostile unless a test is in progress. The other side of Observation Area 3 overlooks the office where the test objective will be. We'll just finish looting up here and go down and check out the test course. This door leads back to the lobby where you come in from the lab, the one that overlooks the starting area for the test. So let's go down there and have a look around. Remember, there's a skillbook recipe in this kitchen area. It's on the floor somewhere. Right there, between the refrigerators. Sneak, which Courier Jeff doesn't need, but we're being thorough. This is the office we saw from the observation catwalk. More Repcon signage. I don't remember if the layout of the Repcon HQ back in the Mojave matches this exactly, but I'm guessing it does. And here's the safe where our target document will be. All right, let's go start the test. Test selection. Begin basic infiltration test. For this test, you must steal a document in... Okay, which one do you want me to read, game? Short version, go to the safe. If you get spotted by robots or turrets, you fail. If you retrieve the document, it automatically updates the suit's firmware and puts a reward in the safe right here beside the terminal. When you already know where the safe is, the basic test is pretty easy, even with low sneak skill. With Sneak 100 in light armor, it's basically impossible to fail unless you pay zero attention to where the robots are. There's the document. Test completed, which means the suit's firmware is now fully activated. The schematics for the Stealth Suit Mark II have been uploaded to the think tank. And now Mobius is going to send in some Robo-Scorpions to stop us from getting the suit itself back to Klein. Any second now.
X-13 breached? No, even that stealth suit won't hide you from my Robo-Scorpion army. Sting the intruder, my pets. Sting them until they are stupid.
Here we go. I know there are more than that. Well, if the game's letting us level up, maybe not. It's not a perk level, so this one's easy. 9 points in melee weapons and 8 points in unarmed. I don't think anyone ever says it explicitly, but the reason Klein wants the schematics and the actual devices, and the reason Mobius tries to stop you from taking those devices to Klein, even though Klein already has the schematics, is that Mobius probably believes the think tank doesn't have the attention span to assemble new devices from the schematics. Kind of like how they fell to bickering and got distracted after they realized the Autodoc had done something unique with our surgery and we weren't just another lobotomite. And that gave Mobius a chance to steal our brain. Okay, there are more. Thought so. Anyway, he's probably counting on Klein not being able to do whatever he's planning now, as long as we don't take him the actual working technology. Mobius sounds concerned that I have it figured out. Still in caution, so there are more of them yet. I'm not going to start the next stage of the test until we get them all. Still more, but I almost forgot the reward safe. I know, looting in combat.
You're no match for science. All right, everyone, calm down. Might have been a blip.
Still red on the compass. Looks like it's right upstairs.
Laser sting!
All right. Is that all? Looks like that's all. Advanced infiltration test. Same as before, but now we have the added complication of laser tripwires, which isn't that big of a deal because they're easy to see, but if you can't pass the skill check to disable them, they can make it tricky to sneak around the robots quietly. We'll poke our head in here and take a look at one of them. No robots right here in the lobby, right? I think repair lets you disable them and science lets you hack them, but either way, you can't set them off anymore. I have both, so it doesn't really matter. It turns blue, so you know it's safe to walk through it. But that's not the pro move. Remember that door between the lobby and Observation Area 3? Well, it's locked during the test, but if your lockpick skill is at least 75, which Courier Jeff's is, and I don't break a lockpick because I'm blabbing, we can walk right over to the catwalk, jump over the rail, don't fall in the laser, and open the safe. Done. And the stealth suit is now up to version 1.2. expert infiltration test. Same as advanced, but now there are proximity detectors. They look and act like mines, except instead of blowing up, you fail the test. And I'm 99% sure that like mines, you can't set them off if you have the light step perk, which Courier Jeff does. And if you don't, and you don't have the right skills to deal with the tripwires, this starts to get pretty tricky. And I think I'm going to do this one legit to make sure I'm right about the proximity detectors. There's one right there. Who knows how many I walked by and didn't see. But I was close enough, it would have definitely gone off if I didn't have light step. Safe. Document. Completed. Stealth Suit version 1.3. And one more time. Robot compliance test. Same defenses as the expert test, but now you can't just avoid the robots, you have to sneak up and disable them. But you don't have to steal the document, so I actually think this one's easier because you can pick your time and place to ambush them. There it goes. Went through a tripwire. Disable that so I don't back through it if it turns around. Deactivate. Test complete. And don't worry.
Hello, sir.
The robots aren't permanently disabled, so you can replay any of the tests as many times as you want if you think it's fun and you want to try a different strategy. And here's the point. The reward for the final stage is a skill book, appropriately enough for Sneak, which you're probably getting tired of hearing me say Courier Jeff doesn't need, but that's how you get it if you do. And that quest is complete, and it didn't automatically make another one active. Let's set it to the one to upgrade all the sync appliances. It said earlier we still need one for the auto dock, and hopefully it's in here somewhere. I don't see a marker on the world map, so apparently it is. In fact, let's just look at it on the local map and then we'll know. Yes, it is. But we're pretty much right on top of the marker, and I don't see anything, so it must be upstairs. There's a whole other room off Observation Area 1 that I never saw because I fell downstairs after I got the first recipe out of the vent. Suggestion? Noticed your work has taken a dive lately, coincides with weight gain over the past few months, developed an implant, increased performance while reducing weight in lab animals, haven't run it through human trials yet, but I'm sure it's safe. Also refrain from snacking in the lab if you smudge another camera. I'm banning all food from the facility. Callus being a dick, as usual, but I think that's what we needed. Yep, implant Y7. Now, is that going to update the quest? Yes, it is. Install the upgrades in the sink. Oh, more Robo-Scorpions upstairs in the lab.
No match for science.
What are they fighting that isn't me? Night Stalkers. Hey, leave them alone!
Time for violence. Ow! You're no
Machine Head rank 3.
match for science.
Need a doctor's bag. I think I have a couple. The Central Intelligence sells them sometimes. Yes. Now, what's Machine Head? It's a challenge perk, but what's it do? Damage bonus against robots. Not that surprising in hindsight. More dead Night Stalkers. Sorry, snake puppies. I wasn't quick enough. Is that all of them? Looks like it. Are there going to be more outside? Probably.
Our lobotomized time for violence. Mobius, 0. You're no match for science. Sting them in the You think that all this stealth suit will keep you hidden from me? Think again.
They really should have put in a few lines of code so the Scorpions don't talk all over each other like that. Mobius can't be talking through all of them at once, and it's annoying when it interferes with plot dialogue, like Klein was just trying to tell us something. Maybe the idea is they're playing pre-recorded taunts.
You're no match for science. Soon, all science will be mine.
More Night Stalkers coming to my aid.
Ow!
Thank you, snake puppies. Two hits to kill a lobotomite. This thing isn't quite as powerful as I thought it would be. Like I said, the base damage is great, but it doesn't do much bonus damage on a crit, so it's not really ideal for Courier Jeff. The 20% increase to sneak speed is sweet, and the perception and agility buffs are nice, but the sneak bonus is negated by the extra weight if your base sneak skill is over 60 or thereabouts, so I'm afraid it's going in the souvenir chest. As are the cattle prod and the protonic inversal axe. Now let's talk to some appliances. Process toasters.
I ever tell you about Saxomatron version 4.0? That cat was the best trumpet player I ever met.
And let me guess, Trumpetron played the sax.
Let's turn off the lights and turn on the lights.
Oh, light switch 2, never change. Mentat Chow? Wrestler Royal?
Might I be of service, sir?
Let's see what those do.
Very good, sir.
Mentat Chow increases fire rate. Wrestler Royal increases damage. If I used the Cyberdog gun more often, those would definitely be worth it. I might buy them later if I have money left after I get the last implant. Process pencils. 5 lead. I mean, I can't complain because they weigh 0, but I won't be going out of my way to find any more. Making food heal better might not be worth 20,000 caps, but restoring action points with food is huge. Rebound is rare, expensive, and addictive, but with this you can just stuff your pants full of corn and stay in vats forever. And since Courier Jeff has fully embraced being a cyborg, I'm doing it. Does the Pip-Boy show you how much it restores? No, but we'll test it.
If you haven't found any communists in your backyard, you're not looking hard enough.
Thank you for reminding me. Books. Crafting all 13 skill books will require 325 blank books and 26 Wonder Glue. I have 10 times enough Wonder Glue thanks to Muggy, but it looks like I only have about 100 ruined books for the book chute to recycle. Fortunately, I left a few stacks of them at Klein's house in Higgs Village. Be right back. Process books. All the ruined books are removed. And I'm sticking to my word, only ruined books. I'm not recycling the clean ones that are marked as pre-war books. Now, how many blank books did we get? 263. Still 62 short. Stash them in the cupboard over the workbench for now. And I might as well put the Wonder Glue in here too, so I don't have to haul everything across the room while I'm over encumbered. Now, where else have I seen large quantities of ruined books? There was a big pile of them in the guard tower where Elijah was tinkering with bomb collars, but I think I picked those up while I was there. Only need 26 of these.
Sir's accoutrements are precisely where Sir has left them, and should the toaster say otherwise, I remind Sir that it is a wastrel.
Preaching to the choir, Central Intelligence. The library in X8, where we're going next. Perfect. I don't think I showed this when I was here before, but the cybernetics lab is still actively making cyberdogs and robo-brains. And I think we can get into the observation area without starting the test. Yes. Now, where is it? That leads back to the room overlooking the residential test. What I'm looking for is close to the exit from the institutional test. which should be right around here, I think. Yeah, here we go. Newly created cyberdogs being trained. Which is just another little background detail that explains why enemies respawn, like the Night Stalkers breeding in Z9 and X13, or the lobotomites presumably reproducing at the Cuckoo's Nest. Dala said they spend most of their time either fighting or injecting fluids into each other. And that attention to detail and continuity underlying all this stuff that seems a bit tongue-in-cheek on the surface is another one of the things I love about this DLC. And there's a back door to the kennel in here, so we don't even need to go back out to the lobby. I don't think there's anything hostile in here. Well, the Night Stalkers would be quite hostile if we didn't have the Animal Friend perk, but it should be safe for us. There's one right there. Well, there's a holotape on top of that cage. We won't be able to get back up, but we've looted everything up here, so it doesn't matter. There's another door that leads back out to the testing area lobby. Splicing experiment holotape. I thought this was one of the upgrades. We haven't done any splicing experiments at all. I was kind of focused on the current objective every time we visited X8 previously. In fact, I don't think we even found any of the other splicing holotapes. Finish looting the kennel and have a look around for those. Here we go. I think this is what we're looking for. I think we already read most of these out in the lab area. Yeah, we'd seen all of those before, but Release Unusual Specimen is new. Sure, what could possibly go wrong? And that finally updates the X8 data retrieval quest, which I was confused about for 7 episodes. Bottom line, it replaces the cyberdogs with Night Stalkers, and then you have to run the institutional test again. What's that? Schematics, K9000 Fido. I believe that's a mod that converts the cyberdog gun from 357 Magnum to 44 Magnum, which unfortunately isn't compatible with the other mods, so it's a good thing we got both so we don't have to choose. Schematics for upgrading the K9000 Cyberdog gun with a particularly aggressive and loyal cybernetic dog brain in a feisty red biogel suspension. No useful details at all, but I'm pretty sure that's what it does. Hello, Snake Puppy. Basic test. There we go. And I don't think I ever commented on all that grinding when you pick a test, but the implication is that the whole course rotates, so the door to whichever area you pick lines up with that door.
Attention, students! This is the pre-recorded voice of your pre-recorded principal, Dr. Principal Boros!
Right. I switched back to Revelation because I think the stun on crit effect is better overall than the extra damage from Opera Singer, and that reset my hotkeys. Anyway, I can just imagine the design meeting. I'll put both courses on a giant platter and spin it around depending on which one you pick from the terminal. Okay, Boris, but why couldn't you just have 2 doors? Because science! Fair enough. Proceed. And somewhere, I apparently picked up 2 regular energy cells, and it defaults to those instead of the overcharge. Oh yeah, library. Almost forgot to grab the books. That's not the whole reason we're here, but it's one of the main reasons. And the last terminal was downstairs anyway, so convenient. Except the exit's upstairs, so that's not quite as convenient. But it'll give me a chance to pick up a few more books, so it is convenient. Is there a door there? I don't think there's really a door in that observation booth. I think that's fake.
Down at the end of the hall is ball storage for jocks who like balls. Like Richie Marcus. Do you hear me, Betsy? Richie likes balls.
That never gets old. Perhaps not surprisingly, there don't appear to be any books in ball storage. You know, this quest is another one of those cases where if you have the right character build, the ultimate challenge is almost trivial compared to the harder variants of the normal tests. A lot of newer games would go out of their way to negate advantages like that in the name of gameplay balance, but frankly, that just feels to me like a slap in the face. If you bust your ass to get an item like the Ghoul Mask in Fallout 3, or spend a perk slot on something like Animal Friend when you could have spent it improving your combat stats, the fact that those things sometimes let you avoid danger instead of fighting your way out of every single encounter is the whole point. What they did to the Animal Friend perk in Fallout 4 is a perfect example of what I didn't like about that game. Pointing a gun at a raider to intimidate or coerce them makes sense, but with an animal, it's just dumb. And no, there is no door there. Which, if I thought about it for 2 seconds, everything you see from either side of this glass is fake because they're two different interior cells. Which, despite the minor continuity error with the door, is brilliant design because it makes it all feel connected. One more time. Advanced test. And here we go.
Please place all filthy propaganda books in the incinerator chute in the sink, especially those with funny pictures of me in them.
I don't think I heard that one before. Now it looks like the next terminal must be downstairs again. And the last one's in ball storage. We've come full circle. Betsy Bright. Is that it? No, we still have to exit the testing area. Excuse me, snake puppies. Now we're done. No, we have to retrieve test data from X8 test terminal. All right, we can do that. X8 test terminal. Unusual specimen test results. 500 XP. That's got to be the end. Yes, finally. And DNA agent perk. Your study of abominations created at Big Mountain has granted you a damage bonus against Night Stalkers. Counterpart to the DNA Avenger perk we got for killing the Cazador boss in Z14. Which won't help Courier Jeff because he thinks Night Stalkers are cute, but 8 episodes later, it's finally out of the quest log. Now, about those splicing experiments. We already have one recipe, Robot and Night Stalker. And I think there's one right here in the testing lobby, right there on the table. Dog and Robot. One more at the very back of the observation area where it overlooks the residential test, Dog and Lobotomite. And unlike the slight continuity error with the door, not door back by the institutional test, they actually made this area be on fire after Gabe's atomic core exploded. Very cool. If you missed the last episode, I had this elaborate plan involving chems and vats and distracting the Roboscorpions to keep them alive. And then when they spawned, Gabe immediately darted out in front of me and I headshotted him by accident. In hindsight, it feels like dark humor that's completely at home in this DLC, but at the time, it was very sad. Here's the splicing test area, and there's something hostile inside. Mr. Handy. Waited 1 second too long.
You must be bloody stupid if you can't hide from me!
Yep, that's what I was just saying. Okay, I can't rule out the possibility that it's just me who thinks those look like giant electric boobs, but yeah, it's probably just me. Anyway, here's the splicing terminal. Biomechanical splicing rules. Short version, 3 experiments per day, clear the platform between experiments, and if you make a cyberdog, you can only make 1 at a time and it can't leave the lab. What's that? Make a cyberdog, you say? Well, we'll get to that in a minute. First, let's splice a lobotomite with a robot. Yeah, that sounds interesting.
Who am I? I feel different, awake, alive for the first time ever. What is this strange new world around me? What does it hold in store for a dreamer such as myself? No!
That almost worked. Little Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy reference there. We need to clear the splicing area before we can make anything else. So let's try a robot and an unusual specimen. Oh no, it's a Night Stalker. I should have realized that. That's what they called them on the kennel terminal, too. What's it shooting at? The dead handy? Apparently so. But sadly, that wasn't any more successful than the first try. All right, robot and dog. And that one is successful. And friendly. This is Roxy. Hello, Roxy. Hi there, puppy. Roxy, as the terminal implied, can be a temporary companion while you're in X8, but you can't take her out of the facility. Go wait by the entrance. Good dog. Now that might seem like an uncharacteristic way to treat animals for Courier Jeff, but A, being a cyborg is awesome, and B, she can stay here and play with the other cyber dogs, even the Night Stalkers, which we know aren't hostile to each other. Who's a good girl? Can't fast travel because there are enemies nearby, so we'll just run over to the radar fence. Is this close enough? Yes. And away we go. I picked up way more books than I needed in X8, but better too many than too few. Get the Wonder Glue. And now we start making skill books. They're under miscellaneous, I believe. Yes. Which is odd, because they show up under aid in your inventory, but whatever. Oh, and I said a long time ago you can only make one of each. That's because the recipe holotape is actually a component in the recipe itself. They presumably contain the content that gets transcribed into the book. And I might be here a while, so I'll see you on the other side. The ones I don't need go in the souvenir chest. If I ever get a full set, I'll put them on a display shelf in Pahrump. And let's read the ones I do need. Duck and Cover. Explosives up by 4. Grognak the Barbarian, melee weapons up by 4. And Pugilism Illustrated, unarmed up by 4. 12 points total, and we'll get one more of each in Lonesome Road. And I'm pretty sure there are still some scattered around the Mojave if it comes to that. Take one of the Cyberdog guns. The Fido schematic didn't unlock a mod at the Central Intelligence, so maybe we just have it. Apply mods. Oh, okay, so how does it work? There we go, at a workbench. And the ingredients are just a Cyberdog gun. Like I said, Fido isn't compatible with the other K9000 mods, so don't apply them and then convert it or you'll just lose them. But we have 2, so sure. DPS 256. And it still barks when you equip it. If you like heavy weapons, this thing's a beast. Figuratively and literally. But that's not really Courier Jeff's scene. Fido and K9000 can keep each other company in the souvenir locker for now, and I'll find good homes for both of them when we get back to the Mojave. Alright, I don't think there's anything left to do except talk to Klein and kick off the endgame.
Did you retrieve the technologies yet? We need them, as I have indicated.
I've recovered all the technological information.
What? You did? Your survival, let alone success, barely registered in my projections. Now, all I need to do is check my transmission databank. Mobius is always filling it up with his psychotic calls. Oh yes, there's the schematics, just like you said. How truthful.
Do these technologies have the information you need?
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Your answer isn't exactly filling me with confidence.
No. I mean, yes. You just need to analyze these technologies for a moment. They are extremely advanced, you know?
Uh-huh. Why did you even have me get them if you don't know how they would help?
I know how these technologies work. Of course I know. If you remember, we described them in clearly abstract, contradictory statements before. Why would we do that if we weren't certain on how to use them? Yes, so let me... a bit, huh? I'll figure it out.
I'm not so sure. Look, you said the antenna focuses brainwave patterns, right?
Yes, that's what I believe I said.
And the stealth suit's a cardiac regulator, and the sonic frequency is a spinal vibrator.
I've got it. The cardiac regulator in the suit, the antenna for brain waves, and the sonic frequency for the vertebral nerves.
I'm waiting for you to draw a conclusion.
I'm thinking. This is all very complicated. Let me check something. Of course. I have it. The override sequence to open the Forbidden Zone door is hidden in the schematics. Well, not hidden. It's actually right there, behind the programming equivalent of coffee stains. It's embedded in what seems to be recursive code. It's badly commented there and there. Oh, and null pointers very sloppy, Mobius. You see, using the antenna to boost the emitter's sonic frequency and the stealth suit to bypass the Forbidden Zone lock, yes, that could work. Was that my plan? It must have been. Sometimes I truly surprise myself. The door is open, and now Mobius will get his.
Yeah. Breaking into the Forbidden Zone is an interesting theory, and they might work for that too, but I still don't think you actually know what you're talking about. Don't these items seem more biologically focused than that?
Biological? Ridiculous. I mean, technically, these items could all be used to put you back together once you had your brain. But for now, they can be used in the name of aggression. The door should be unsealed. Now, instead of being subjected to threats, we can now send an equally threatening message to Mobius. And that message is science. Deliver this message, and Big Mountain shall be freed from Mobius's reign of terror. You can go now. That's your cue.
I'm not quite sure if he's lying or just confused, but I'm very sure that's not the whole story. Especially since he mentioned that they might also let me put my brain back in my body. Not that I necessarily want that, but it strongly suggests there's another shoe waiting to drop. Metaphorically, of course. However, breaking into the Forbidden Zone for the final confrontation with Mobius isn't likely to be easy, so I think this is a good place to call it a day. I'm going to get some sleep, food, water, make sure my loadout is just how I want it, all that good stuff. Thanks for watching. Like, leave a comment, subscribe, and I'll see you next week.